Today on the 1012 Pick Spot, myself and Chase are joined by the man behind PEARatings to make picks for every single Big 12 game on the schedule. That includes some rivalry games like the Battle for the Iron Skillet and the Turnpike Classic. Plus, we get one of the biggest showdowns of the year in Utah versus Texas Tech. Some sneaky good ones like Arizona State and Baylor and BYU at ECU. All of those coming up on the 1012.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you.
Ooh.
Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Saturday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Saturday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Saturday. Saturday, bring it on.
Welcome to the 1012 Picks Pod, where every week myself, Phillip, Slavin, and Chase A. Kiddy from BetMGM and a guest make picks for every Big 12 game on the schedule. 1012 Podcast, of course, is the flagship show of the 1012 Network. Find every show in the network at 1012network.com. That's TE and the number 12, the word network. We are, of course, partners with Sports Social, Europe's biggest sports podcast network. Wherever you are listening, please do us a favor. Leave us 5 stars and a review. It really does help the show out. It takes you a couple seconds. It does miles and miles of wonders for me, both professionally and just personally, to see a nice review. It's been a while. If you're watching or listening on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe. We would appreciate it. Chase, my friend, it's nice I get to see you twice a week, but it doesn't mean that I don't look forward to every Wednesday night when we make picks together, friend.
Totally co-sign on that. Can I just say, I had back spasms this morning. Which is how you know I'm in my mid-30s now. Sometimes I see athletes who are listed as like questionable or day-to-day because they have back spasms, and I kind of roll my eyes like, you can't play through a back spasm? Come on, what are you doing? You're a professional athlete. Don't ever make fun of anybody that has back spasm. It's like being shot in the back. It's not pleasant. It's the worst thing ever. I think it's the worst pain I've ever felt. I've never had intense tooth pain or anything like that. But I have heard that barring that, stuff like that in your back is pretty much as bad as it ever gets.
Like debilitating headaches are there, but I had my first ones now that I'm 40, like about a month ago. Like I was laying in bed and I sat up to get the dog in bed and like took one step forward to like turn the light switch on and immediately had to like fall down because I could not like walk. I was like crawling slowly back into the bed. My wife's like, what's wrong? I was like, I can't move. I cannot move. And so ever since then, my lower back's been unhappy. And so maybe one day I'll go get some PT and get that figured out and fixed.
10-12 medical minute.
I'm gonna get my senior card soon. Us two old fogies are happy to welcome in a guest this week, a youngster. We're gonna pop his podcast cherry tonight, and always thrilled to do so. The man behind the PEARatings. If you have not checked these out on Twitter yet, at PEARatings, 1R, not 2, just PEARatings. I have said on this show many times, I love when we get to find new metrics for when it comes to ranking and rating teams in college sports. You know we love Kelly Ford here. You know we love Parker Fleming. I find this stuff all very fascinating, and I love to learn the ins and outs of how these things are put together. So very excited for the first time tonight to welcome Mr. Pear himself. That's what we're going to be calling him here on the show tonight, to the 1012. Pear, welcome, bud.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was a really nice intro for me.
Hey, you know what? it's your first time on, it's your first podcast. We got to set the bar high. So you'll always come back to us and be like, my first time was on that 1012 podcast with those two old guys who talked about their back pain, and I'll never forget it. And so listen, you do college baseball rating, college football. I love the stuff that you're putting out on a regular basis. So tell us a little bit like how you got started and kind of how do you put the pair ratings together?
Yeah. So I was obviously you mentioned I'm a little bit younger. I was in a family pick'em because I wasn't able to bet. And so I was pooling a bunch of public models, and I was just like, I don't really like taking other people's stuff, so I might as well make my own. And so I did that around the start of last season. I was like, I know how to code, I know math, I can probably take a crack at it and do it. And so I did it. I really enjoy making the ratings. More so, I enjoy making those little visuals and posting them. So I started doing that pretty quickly after. Yeah, I mean, it kind of taken off more than I thought it would in less than a year.
So first off, love the whole I don't like using other people's things. I guess I'll just learn how to do this myself mindset. It's a phenomenal mindset to have. It'll take you very far in life. I think Chase can probably agree with me there as he nods quite vigorously. So tell us about pair ratings. What goes into it for you? When I'm looking at let's look, for instance, your latest projected Big 12 standings. You posted it a day ago. How does this come together for you? How do you kind of break this down?
Yeah. So, I mean, we go some key advanced stats go into it, like EPA, points per opportunity, some drive quality stuff, things that might make stats award proud, the equal rate, RAP. And then it's just, you get a nice little power rating number for each team, and it's all stats from there. So it's just, you compare two teams together based on whatever the model spits out for their power rating and say, all right, this team has a rating of 10, this team has a rating of 5. They should win 65% of the time. And from there, you kind of just do a bunch of stats saying, if you win this game or you win this game, what do you end up with? Yeah, I enjoy the back end of this much more than the modeling input side. I could talk about the stats to make the visuals much longer than the inputs there.
Look, I appreciate that you geek out about this stuff. It's fun. I used to hate math and anything related to math, and then I found that I really like statistics that tell me things that I want to know, and in context. But please don't ask me to do math. I hate math with a passion. But if I need to pull out a bunch of stuff so it proves I'm right or proves that I'm winning, then I'm good with that. So, Pear, welcome to the show tonight. We're thrilled to have you. Can't wait to see how your models match up with the Big 12 tonight. We got to recap what happened last week before we get to tonight's picks. Chase, congratulations. You won the week last week fairly comfortably, going 5-3. I went 3-5, and our good friend Douglas went 2-6. So he actually lost on a percentage standpoint to Andrew, our week 3 guest or week 2 guest, who they do a show together. It's on they post it on, they show it on Twitter every Wednesday. If you haven't watched it, you should go and do so. They're both fantastic. But I made sure to mention in the Twitter DMs, and I don't think Douglas wants to come on the show anymore. But as I mentioned, Douglas went 2-6, hit on Texas Tech team total over 42.5, hit on Utah minus 23.5. The misses were the under 45 in Houston, Colorado, Kansas State -1, Pitt -6.5, Iowa State -20.5. That was our consensus, and it was another consensus curse. The curse is back on, folks. Texas State +16.5. Curse is on folks, and missed on Tennessee under 17.5 as a team total. 2-6 on the week brings our guests to 10-19. I went 3-5, hit on Colorado team total under 20.5, hit on Arizona plus 1.5 against Kansas State, and hit on the under 48.5 in Utah, Wyoming. My misses were the over 61 in Texas Tech, Oregon State. If Oregon State could punch a single ball into the end zone when they get close to it, I would have had that over easy. Pitt minus 6.5. Very happy that was wrong. Iowa State minus 20.5. They played around with their food, but won ultimately. Missed on Texas State plus 16.5. And my Duke plus 1.5. Parker's did we really get beat that bad stat says that I had the right pick. It's just that Duke couldn't make it happen because that's what happens. And I will stay away as far away from Duke from the rest of the year as possible. So 3-5 on the week brings me to 18-15 on the season so far. Chase, as I mentioned, you're the winner. Hit on Houston minus 4.5 versus Colorado. Hit on Arizona plus 1.5 versus Kansas State. Hit on Texas Tech minus 23.5 versus Oregon State. Hit on the under 58 in West Virginia Pitt. Smart guy. Hit on under 48.5 in Utah, Wyoming. The misses were the two consensus picks, Iowa State minus 20.5, Texas State plus 16.5, and your Notre Dame minus 6.5. 5-3 on the week, 18-14-1 now on the season, sir.
And if I can call my shot here, we're going to have a better week this week. I think this is the best week of picks I've ever had for the Ten12 podcast. I'm going to say that right off the top. I got some bangers here.
That's bold because you did go 9-3-1 the week prior. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
well, get ready. I mean, this is where every year I am scalding lava hot on the picks. I think there's a very good mathematical case that I should bet college football from September 10th to October 1st and then stop.
Your best week ever, at least since you have co-hosted with me last year and this year. You went 6-1 in week 6.
Yeah.
So,
and then that's about where I trend the other way. It's not like I suck, but it's, you're not hitting at that clip. Nobody hits at that clip forever.
No, I get it. It's all right. All right. All right. With all that said, we got some picking to do. Chase, Pear, you guys ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. If this is your first time, because every podcast is, we hope, somebody's first, here's how this works. We pick every Big 12 game going in chronological order. So game 1 is our 1 weeknight game. Friday night, technically I consider Friday a weeknight game, but Friday night, Oklahoma State versus Tulsa, 7:30 p.m. God's time kickoff on ESPN, 77th edition of the Turnpike Classic. Oklahoma State leads this series 44-28-5 and have won 10 in a row. Tulsa's last win came all the way back in 1998. Gundy has not lost them as a head coach. This is year 2 of an 8-year home-and-home series between the two teams. Oklahoma State won last year 45-10. Bless you, schools that are in state that agree to just pay each other on a regular basis. There's no reason not to do these kinds of things. I've made enough comments about Arkansas State. I had to throw that one in there with Chase here. At the moment, Oklahoma State, 11.5-point favorite. But ESPN bet, it's got a weird number. We'll talk about that if we have to.
They do.
Total in this one's
we'll talk
pretty
about
much 54.5 across the board. Congratulations, you won last week. Congratulations, sir. You get to go first here.
So you alluded to it there just a second ago. ESPN bet is hanging a 13.5 when the rest of the market is at an 11.5. So not saying anything about the game, not providing a single shred of analysis, there's a pretty good mathematical case here that you should just take the 13.5 with Tulsa because it's an aberrational market number. This is now talking from a very strict betting standpoint, but if you're going to say the market's at 11.5 minus 110, and you're going to give Tulsa 2 points for a 10-cent cost, it's a 13.5 minus 120. Like, you should probably be taking that, even though the 2 points from 11.5 to 13.5 are not necessarily the two most important points on the board. So that's that side of it. I'm going to not do that, even though I just talked about how wise that would be. I'm going to take the under 54.5. I am not the modeler that the PEARatings are, and I do not claim to be a modeler, but some rudimentary modeling that I did for this game would put the number around 48. I think in particular, when you look at how bad Oklahoma State's drives have been on offense and the general lack of explosiveness that Tulsa's offense has, that would also sort of anecdotally point toward the under here. So I think this number's bad, and I think these offenses are bad. On top of that, I just generally like to play weeknight unders. So all of that, under 54.5 is a real life bet that I have for Friday night.
Okay. Let me run through the numbers here. Not that they're going to have a major impact on what I pick, but I still like to run through them. SP Plus is Oklahoma State minus 9.8. T-Shoes got OSU minus 11.5. FEI's got OSU minus 21.4. Beta's got OSU minus 15.9. Parker's got OSU minus 5.59. And Kelly Ford gives Oklahoma State an 82% chance to win. Look, I know Tulsa is not good, and OSU just got stomped, obliterated into paste by Oregon 2 weeks ago. Oklahoma State's had a week off, time to prepare, so they should come out better than they did against Oregon and against their UT Martin season opener when they lost their supposed to be starting quarterback in the game. Tulsa cares about this game. Oklahoma State fans will tell you it's not a rivalry. It's a rivalry game. Like we can pitter patter, bicker, whatever you want to. It's a rivalry game. Tulsa absolutely cares about it. They would love nothing more than to finally get a win in this series. But again, OSU coming off an embarrassing loss, I can't imagine, and a week off to prepare, that they're going to go into this game lightly. They need to be impressive. Oklahoma State is bottom 20 in pace of play. Tulsa plays fast, but is really inefficient, and they do have the number 2 pass rush grade in the country. Tulsa's defense is pretty good. Their offense is not so much. Oklahoma State's defense, I have no idea. I know high on it, but I don't know. The offense, pretty confident it's not specifically great. Last couple of seasons, Gundy's been really good at coming out of the idle week, and I think that they'll win. I would be shocked if the offense doesn't look better this week than it did the first 2 weeks, which shouldn't be hard because it can't look much worse than it did the first 2 weeks. I think Tulsa probably covers this, but Chase, I'm coming right along with you. I'm taking the under here. Like, I just think it's going to be an ugly game. I think Oklahoma State wins. I think Tulsa probably covers a 13.5. But I would rather ride the under 54.5 in this one and think that OSU probably wins by double digits, but it's a low scoring kind of ugly affair. Pair.
I'm going to save us from a consensus pick and just take Oklahoma State 11.5 here. I've got the number at 12.3, but that's not necessarily my reasoning, because the stats for Oklahoma State are just so skewed from that drubbing against Oregon. That was really bad. I just think their defense is good enough to hold off Tulsa for long enough that they hit a big play maybe once, hold them off, win, maybe by 2 scores, 14 points. And then a big one for me is Caesar's opening line this year against the spread is nearly 60% for the closing spread. So Caesar's opening line was at 15 points, moved all the way down to 11.5. I will take that 60% against the spread and run. So I'll take Oklahoma State to cover.
Phillip, can we do a little talk radio here for a second?
Of course.
5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Oklahoma State's up 10-6. Your reaction is what?
Hey, they're going to win. Why am I still awake for this? Look, Oklahoma State was never going to be the first job open. And there's going to be a lot of jobs open this offseason because nobody wanted to fire anybody last offseason because they were all saving their money to pay players. Yeah.
I think more interesting is if Tulsa does what they did to Navy last week and goes up 14-0 really quickly in the first quarter. Like, what's going on there in Stillwater?
I think it would look a lot like when ODU went up 14-0 on Virginia Tech last week. And there was an opening the next morning.
the big difference between Brent Pry at Virginia Tech and Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. They won't do that. Now, we say we want to have enough respect to let him coach out the season and then negotiate out of it. But it may come to a point this season where you're actually doing him more of a favor by letting him leave early and not have to continue to coach. No, depending upon if this season looks like last year. So we'll just kind of see how that works. I want to shout out, as always, Parker Fleming. If you don't go to his CFB-graphs site, if you do the matchup for this game, Oklahoma State, if you look at their advanced stats preview, red. it's all red. There's only one stat that is above like bottom 100, and it's rushing percentage, and it's 85. It's just red. It's red. It's woof. Speaking of woof, we're gonna take a quick ad break. We'll be right back.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless, and if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
All right, we move on to Saturday. We got a full slate of Big 12 action, and the best game of the season so far is kicking things off at 11 a.m. Folks, this is the best game of the weekend. And if you want to make an argument for Illinois, Indiana, that's fine, cool, whatever. This is the best game of the weekend, and this is arguably one of the best games we've had on the schedule so far this year. It is Utah hosting Texas Tech in an absolute battle in the Big 12. Big Noon is there. It's the 11 a.m. primetime game for Fox. Cannot wait for this one. Massive game. First meeting as conference opponents. Tech actually leads this series 2-0. Granted, both wins came back in 72 and 73. So it's been a minute since these two teams have faced off on the gridiron. Utah at the moment is about a 3-point favorite. There's a 3.5 and 2.5 out there. We will keep an eye on. And the total is about 57.5. There is a 58 if that is of any interest to anybody. I am up first here. Look, both teams are good on third down. Utah is second nationally at 71%. Tech's 15th nationally at 55%. Here's the thing. Neither team has played anyone. Neither team has played anybody at all. Utah's first opponent has already fired their head coach. Like this is the first real opponent for either team. Hands down, end of story. But it's hard to pick Texas Tech because it feels like this is a game where I feel like these are fairly evenly matched teams in a lot of ways. And I kind of want to just give the edge to Utah. And then I have to ask myself a question. If this was in Lubbock, I would pick Texas Tech. If this was on a neutral field, who would I pick? I had Texas Tech in the Big 12 title game before the season, and I still think there's a good chance that they're going to get there. I've just continued to buy more and more into Utah as we got closer to this season and as this season has progressed. And I'm not going to hold the Wyoming game against them. They went on the road. Texas Tech has not been on the road yet this season. This is their first road game. This is a tough spot to be for your very first road game and very first real opponent of the year, being on the road at Utah. And that place is going to be crazy. Look, I'll run through them. SP Plus has Utah minus 1.9. Tishu has Utah minus 1. FEI has Utah minus 1.8. Beta has Utah minus 1.88. K Ford gives Utah a 63% chance to win. Or I said Beta has Texas Tech 1.88. Excuse me. I read that wrong. Forgive me for that. And Parker has Texas Tech by 1.16. It is that close. It makes a ton of sense to be. Because I think Utah wins this game. I absolutely do. And I'm seriously considering the under in this one because I think both defenses might be pretty good. But I actually think I'm going to go with, because there's still a 3.5 hanging out there. Thank you, ESPN Bet, for all your weird lines tonight. We've much obliged, much appreciated. I'm going to take Texas Tech plus 3.5. That's how close I think this game is. So the fact that I get that hook on the 3, I'm going to ride with the Red Raiders to keep this game within 3 points. I think Utah wins, but I don't think it's by much. Pear?
I am going to take Utah to cover that 2.5, 3 points. And the biggest stat that I come to is that Texas Tech, against their schedule, has the farthest average distance in the country on third downs. So even against Pine Bluff, Kent State, Oregon State, they are in bad spots on third down. And that might work against your Kent States of the world. I don't think that works at Utah. I also think this is the first time that batch of portal players are going to face any sort of resistance going on the road to Utah. First time that they're facing a similar talent profile. I just don't know if I can trust that until it happens. So I'm going to go with what I know. What I know is Utah is always solid. I know they're at home. I trust Kyle Whittingham. I trust Devon Dampier. So I'm going Utah. Whatever it ends up being, 2.5, 3.
There's a 2.5, so we can both win, sir. I love it when that happens.
We go.
Chase.
Well, I'm going to end up, in terms of game analysis, I'm going to sound a lot like Pear here, but I just want to talk about the market for a second. It's a very interesting board of numbers for this game if you look at all the sports books as of Wednesday night when we're recording this. So Phillip has mentioned that there is a 2.5. There's an expensive 2.5 if you like the Utah side, and there's an expensive 3.5 if you like the Texas Tech side. And really what's happening is that this is a 3. Like, this is a 3 across the board. But FanDuel, which has the 2.5, and ESPN, which has the 3.5, for whatever reason, you'd have to ask them, they are choosing to show alts on their standard 6-pack. They're choosing to say, instead of getting your normal -3, -110, they're giving you -2.5 at -125 or +3.5 plus -125. And that's just an interesting piece of handle management from them. And that's going to be super in the weeds for people. That's probably boring for the purposes of this podcast, but it probably is worth mentioning because, like, in a technical sense, there is a 3.5 on the board there that you can go bet without like clicking into the alts. They're showing the alt, but it's very weird. This is essentially a 3. I'm going to be on Utah -3, and I think it's for all the reasons the pair said. Like, because the data is so skewed because the teams these two have played are so weak. It's kind of a Rorschach test. You're basically having to define these two teams based on the priors because it's all optimism and no real downside to see when you play a bunch of weak teams. And the thing that I go back to, as has already been identified, is if I trust one thing in this game, it's Utah at the line of scrimmage because of how Kyle Whittingham recruits and builds the Utah program and has for a really long time. So I'm going to trust in that. I'm going to bet Utah at home -3. Maybe it's a push. I do think it's probably going to be a low-scoring game, but I'll take the Utes.
Fun fact, Texas Tech's A.J. McCarty leads the country in block kicks with 2. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. I just find it's a funny thing to me.
Extra points are huge.
Hey, Utah had a blocked field goal last week. I'll just leave that at that. Leave that at that. All right. We've got a rivalry game. Also in the morning. TCU versus SMU, 11 a.m. God's time, ESPN 2. The 104th meeting of the Battle for the Iron Skillet is the final meeting for a while as we see another long-running college football rivalry come to an end because of, dumb stuff. We don't need to play this. It's a rivalry game. Just play the stupid thing. TCU leads the all-time series 53-43-7. Sonny Dykes is 2-1 in this series as the head coach of TCU since leaving SMU. I mean, seriously, it just makes this game more fun. Like, just, they're mean. Toad, whiny ass. All right. Sorry. I love you, TCU. I really do. I say such nice things about Josh Hoover everywhere I can. TCU currently a 7-point favorite, although those two books we keep talking about have a couple 6.5s hanging out there for some reason. Total in this one, 64.5. Pear, you are up first this time, sir. What would you like in this one?
Yeah. There's one stat that I kind of keyed on here, and that's the TCU offensive success rate against SMU's defensive success rate. TCU's success rate is top 10 of the country, very good. SMU's defensive success rate is in the 80s. It's not great. And TCU is also number 4 in the country on fourth down conversions up because of that. And if you can convert third downs, you can keep the ball, you can have extended drives. I like that from you. I think that's good. I think that bodes well for a TCU cover of that 6.5.
One Frogs minus 6.5. Chase?
I'm going to be on the over here. Historically, I think we could start there. The point totals in this game the last 4 years, 76 points in 2021, 76 points in 2022, 51 points in 2023, 108 points last season. So that is the direction that this rivalry trends. It is an old-fashioned Big 12 shootout kind of game. TCU's offense is going to hit its explosives. Pear already outlined in terms of offensive rating, offensive success rate. They are very high. I think they're going to continue to find success. SMU's offense doesn't rate as highly. But the thing about TCU's defense is it's really bad on third down. It's not very good on fourth down. So they struggle to get off the field. I think what you're going to see is an SMU offense that isn't as successful in generating quick scoring drives, but can sustain itself, have awesome pass pro, sit back there in the pocket all day and pick apart a defense that breaks down over 5, 6, 7 seconds and be able to sustain drives and score that way. So I'm more interested in lots of offense here. I'll take the over rather than trying to get involved in the spread market.
You are in luck. There's a 63.5 at Bet Rivers.
Yes, that's what I have here. 63.5 at Rivers.
Perfect. Just a couple of things that I'll mention. First off, SMU has 26 accepted penalties this season, 270 penalty yards. I don't like teams that are heavily penalized this year. I just don't. Especially not in a game where offense is going to be at a premium. And if you're giving points away and yards away, especially in a game like this, and I understand it's a rivalry game, throw it all out the window, yada, yada, yada. It still matters to me. Sonny Dykes is 15-5 straight up at home as the head coach of TCU. As you mentioned, they're 2-1 in this series. The loss was last year at SMU. It's a pretty mixed bag. Everyone's favoring TCU. Not like overwhelmingly towards the number. Lowest is probably Parker at 4. The highest would be FEI at TCU 7.7. Kelly Ford gives TCU a 73% chance to win. TCU is winning this game. I am a little bit anxious about them covering the 7, not because I don't think they should. I absolutely think TCU should win this by double digits. But it is a rivalry game. You could see TCU getting up, SMU having to throw out an entire bag of tricks, getting this game close, and it's a push. I like where you're going, Chase. I'm going to come along with you. I'm also taking the over 63.5 in this one. I think this one's going to get pointsy, folks. Nice and pointsy.
There it is.
There it is. All right, we move on down to our only afternoon game for the Big 12 this week. It's a big day on Fox for the Big 12. Fox primary channel. Big 12 in the morning, Big 12 in the afternoon, Big 12 at night. CF versus North Carolina. Just, what is this game? First ever meeting between the two teams in the first half of a home-and-home that will conclude in 2027. I don't know why. This is just, first off, UCF versus North Carolina for some reason is just an odd sounding matchup anyways, just talking about the team names. Then you go to Scott Frost on his second bout at UCF versus Bill Belichick at North Carolina, who called UCF Central Florida in a press conference this week. And so UCF updated their Twitter bio to say Central Florida in parentheses, just to be ha ha ha. because we all know how much UCF fans love being called Central Florida. It's fun. It's good stuff. Okay. UCF, favorite in this one, 7 points. There's just a couple of 6.5s out there from you-know-who. Totals in this one, about 47.5. There's a 46.5 and a 47, depending if you shop around a little bit. Chase, you are up first in this one, sir. What would you like?
Phillip, you'll like this. When I saw the number for this game, I was so incredulous that Carolina was getting basically a full +7. At the time, it was a juiced 6.5. I was so shocked by this number that I suddenly remembered last year we had a gimmick where we did play of the week, the lock of the week,
Yes.
or whatever it was called. And
It
completely escaped my mind until the moment I saw this number, and I was like, lock of the week. It just came out of my body. It just came from somewhere inside of me. I don't even like the word lock. I don't even like saying that, but it just came out of me. How on earth is this UCF team laying a touchdown? What is this? What is this number? Who did this? What are those? So that's my analysis. UNC +7. Money line, I have all of it. I have all the positions. I have the money line. I have the points. I have the alts. I have it all. North Carolina. This is insane overreaction to a Monday night game from like 2.5 weeks ago is what this number is. There's no other explanation for why you would have this UCF team a full touchdown against another power conference team. It's really stupid.
I'm so glad that you went there because that's not. I hopped on there's a college football betting show. Parker used to be on. He's not anymore. It's got Kyle Hunter on it and Joshua Dunn. And I had to ask them in the Q&A yesterday. I was like, what's going on here? Because I don't understand how UCF is a touchdown favorite over anybody. Forget a Power 4 team. Anybody. How? Why? And so I look through the numbers and you know what? I mean, like, yeah, okay. SP Plus has UCF -7. FEI's got UCF -9.4. Beta's got UCF -16.45, which is just wild, Rob. Absolutely wild. TSU's UCF -2. Parker has UNC by 0.1. And I'm like, is there something I don't know? Is there something I'm not aware of? Look, UNC's won their last 2 games. It was an FCS team and it was Charlotte. They won them both comfortably. Yeah. UNC +7. Like, I don't understand. I'm sorry, UCF. Like, I would love for you to win this game. It would be fun to watch you beat Bill Belichick. And I could be very, very wrong. And if I am, I'm happy to be. But why is this a touchdown? Why? I have yet to get a good answer from anybody on why that is at all. Pear, what you want here?
Love all that you just said, and I am taking UCF to cover. I love it.
Attaboy.
My model's got UCF 7.5. I see K Ford at 9.2, FPI at 12.2. I dug up some stats on the North Carolina offense, who have to this point played TCU and looked really bad, played Charlotte, and then played FCS Richmond. Against those 3 teams, their offense is rated 102nd. Their success rate is 104th. Their adjusted EPA per play is 92nd. They are 108th in third down conversion. The offense is just really bad. And I want my model to be right. So I'm going to trust that the North Carolina offense is going to be really bad and that UCF is going to pop a couple of big plays and then just kind of stay 10 points, 8 points ahead for the rest of the game. So I am forcing my pick to go with my model here, is what this is. You got to trust it as something.
You got to trust the model. You got to trust them. Look, there's good history of 1 versus 2 being very successful when it comes to this stuff. So I'll give you that.
That was a great lead in to my pick right there from both of you.
No, you're welcome. That's look, we want to make our guests look good, because inevitably your picks won't. Just kidding. Okay, we move to the evening slate, but before we do that, we're gonna move to a break.
New Vitamin Water Zero Sugar Pineapple Passion Fruit is packed with vitamins, just like the amount of peas we packed in that sentence. It's packed like your tote bag, the one you stole from your ex, or your overpriced half a studio apartment, or extra rushed rush hour traffic. Packed like your calendar. Triple booked at 5, of course. Grab a Vitamin Water. Did we mention it's packed with vitamins?
All right, time for the night games here, folks. We're kicking things off with another Big 12 matchup at 5 p.m. Central Time. And get this one in early before the other ones kick off. On FS1, Kansas hosting West Virginia. West Virginia coming off their big upset win in the backyard brawl. Kansas coming off of a week off, playing host in Lawrence in that beautiful new stadium. They are currently a 13.5 point favorite. I see a 12.5 and a 13 if that's of interest to anybody. Total is pretty much 55.5 across the board. I get to go first here. I have everyone's numbers written down here. I don't have any other notes because I'm doing everything I can to not overreact to the backyard brawl win. Everything I can to not overreact to that, because I don't think that's who West Virginia is. Maybe Nico figured something out, having to get pulled and then getting stuck back in as a starter again and leading the team to victory. Maybe that's awoken some sort of beast inside of him that has turned him into the football quarterback everyone thought he was going to be. Chase, let me roll here, okay? Maybe the gatekeeper and the keymaster have found one another, and Zool has been released. I have no idea. I just don't think that's actually what happened. So I don't think I want to trust West Virginia on the road here in this game. I kind of think that I was kind of hoping that Kansas would be a smaller favorite than almost 2 touchdowns. It worries me that it's 14, but man, the way Jalen Daniels has looked for the first 2 weeks, and they've been off for a week, so everybody's kind of thought about it, but the way he looked in the first 2 weeks of the season, it's not his fault they lost to Missouri. He has looked like the Jalen Daniels we've been waiting to see. I'm going to ride with that all day long. None of the projections have Kansas by 13. None of them. And so that makes me a little bit nervous when I've got anywhere from like 5.5 to 9.5. And none of them seem to be agreeing with that number. But I'm just going to say, screw it. Give me Kansas at the best number. There's a 12.5 from, who is that? DraftKings. It's on the sheet. I'm going to take the best number I can get. Give me the Jayhawks to get the cover.
I don't think I have ever seen this big of a consensus on a line in the publicly available models before. If you look at the CFP Picker dashboard by Andrew Percival, 43 or so models tracked. Every single one of them has West Virginia covering 13.5. There's not a single one taking Kansas. And I feel like I got to do that. So I think West Virginia covers again. I think Kansas wins maybe 31-23, 31-20. But, I mean, I haven't seen every single model be on one side. And that's what it is this game.
Andrew's a good guy. Love that you just shouted him out here on the show. It's been a while since we've had him on. Ace, our West Virginia aficionado.
I cannot tell you how confident I am in the bet I am about to share with you. Okay.
You
but
can't
first,
because you're not supposed to, or you can't because you just, that was emphasizing how confident you
are. The
are.
limit does not exist in how confident I am in the words I am about to speak into the microphone. Okay. I have to go full Lindsay Lohan on you. Pear, this was a movie in the mid-2000s. It was called Mean Girls.
You may have seen the
math
recent musical update.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phillip, I know you have recently officially widened out the boundaries on what is allowed here, but I still feel like I need to come to you for confirmation here.
Okay.
I would like to take Kansas first half -7, which is available right now at Caesars and Bet365. That is the bet I would like to take. And let me tell you, good people, why. Okay? First of all, everybody on this team's been drunk for the last 72 hours. Okay? Nobody more drunk than Ridge Rod, I promise you. Number 2, Kansas, coming off a bye, has an outstanding record against the full game number, since they made the coaching change a few years ago. So Kansas really good coming off a break. West Virginia's going to run 95 plays in this game on offense. So the back door with 13.5 points or 14 points, back door is very open. But they are going to get murdered in this first half. They have not played an offense yet anywhere near this Kansas team. They're going to get wrecked. They're going to try to go really fast against Kansas's defense in the first half. They're going to have, they might set a new FBS record for 35-second 3-and-outs, I think is what's going to happen in the first half of this game. And Kansas is just going to bludgeon them the first 2 quarters. So I love that there are a couple -7s still out there for the first half line. And that's why I favor the first half approach rather than the full game, because I would not be surprised if Kansas is up like 42-13 and then West Virginia just rips off 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and backdoors it like that. But that's the approach I want to take. I would also take a look at the Kansas team total over. I think that's a way to play this as well. But Kansas first half -7 as well.
You can have it. It's all yours. You're welcome to it. I like us doing some weird stuff every once in a while. It's good. It's good for the show. Mixes things up. Okay, we move on to 6:30 p.m. God's time on Fox. The big day on Fox. The Big 12's big day on Fox wraps up with another Big 12 matchup. Baylor hosting Arizona State. I thought this was a saucy week, a saucy conference opener for both to begin with, and I still feel that way despite both having losses to SEC teams. Baylor, of course, to Auburn in week 1. Arizona State, of course, to Mississippi State 2 weeks ago. I think this is one of those more underrated games of the weekend and could be a lot of fun. Maybe ugly, but still fun. At the moment, Baylor is a 2.5 point home favorite, consensus across the board. Total is 59.5. I do see a 60 if that's of any interest to anybody. I believe what is it? Yeah, Pear, you're up first, bud. What would you like?
I am going with my first total here. I'm going over the 59.5. I think Sam Leavitt gets it going this week against a Baylor defense that has been very poor. 91st in adjusted EPA per play, 124th in success rate, 120s in so many stats. And I just think that's prime for Arizona State to settle into their post-Cam Scatterboo offense and score a lot of points. And then I think Baylor really matches them step for step throughout the game. I think my model had the number at 2.8, so just dead on. I didn't have any side there. I have no clue who's going to win this game.
I love it. Over 59.5 is all yours, sir. Chase?
I have a strong clue who's going to win this game. Anytime you see a 2.5 in the age of college football betting that we're in right now, but the same thing goes for NFL too. You should ask yourself, 2.5. What does that mean? That's interesting. It means that either the game started on 3 or it was previously on 3 and somebody bet it off of 3, or it's sitting at 2.5. It's been at 2.5, and there is no action that exists to push it onto that key number. Because believe me, if a 2.5 is available and smart bettors think that 2.5 is wrong, it's going to go to 3 really fast because 3 is the most key number in football betting. So 2.5 is always a big flashing symbol in the sky that you should think about. And I thought to myself, why is this number 2.5? Shouldn't it be Baylor 3? What exists in the dynamics of this game that would make this a 2.5, that would make people reticent not to bet Baylor down to -3? And then I start looking at the analytics, and it becomes very clear. Arizona State plus 0.29 EPA per rush on offense. That's number 9 nationally. Baylor plus 0.13 EPA per rush allowed. I talked last week about how normally when you're looking at these EPA defense stats, they are negative numbers because it's a stat from the perspective of the offense. So if you have a defense that has a plus EPA stat, that means they are adding value to the opposing team's offense. That is not great. Plus 0.13 EPA per rush allowed ranks 118th nationally is Baylor's run defense. So you have a very good run game with Arizona State and a very bad run defense thus far with Dave Aranda's Baylor team. That is going to be the matchup of this game. That is why Arizona State is going to win. I like Arizona State plus the 2.5. I like them on the money line to win out.
I'm going to read you some stats as to why I think Baylor wins this game. Number 1, Baylor is a very aggressive defense, and that got them against Auburn because they couldn't stop the run, which was stupid. Sam Leavitt this season holds the ball for 3.9 seconds. Sawyer Robertson is at 2.38. Baylor has a good pass rush. They have an aggressive pass rush. I hope Arizona State is just going to hand the ball off because there's a pretty good chance Sam Leavitt's going to get sacked a couple times. And I think he's probably going to throw a pick. Sam Leavitt last year, 1.1% turnover worthy play rate. This year, 4.4% turnover worthy play rate. It's all on Sam Leavitt this year. The run game is good. It's not Cam Scatterbo. Jordan Tyson, I still think, is one of the best wide receivers in the Big 12. It's still on. Arizona State this season has allowed 16 tackles for a loss so far through the year for 81 yards. That's 27 yards per game. Add that to the 60.67 penalty yards per game that Arizona State gives up. They're giving up a combined 108 yards a game. So let me get this straight. You got a quarterback who's more turnover prone this year than last year. He hangs on to the ball too much against an aggressive defense, and they give up a lot of tackles for loss, and they're a really penalized team. Oh, by the way, Arizona State is dead last in special teams according to SP+. And they're going on the road to Baylor. I think this Arizona State team is not that much better or worse than last year's team. I just think they have enough flaws compared to last year that when they were winning a lot of close games and one-score games last year, this year that's going to be a lot harder for them to do. That's why they couldn't come back, couldn't get things figured out. They had the lead against Mississippi State late, but then they blew it by giving up a big play. I don't know that Arizona State can close out games the way this year that they were able to last year. I don't love Baylor's defense either. No one who has watched it this year so far does. But I really like Sawyer Robertson. Look, he can have some boneheaded plays as well. But Baylor at home, night game, under 3, give me the Bears. -2.5.
Phillip, you want to make this interesting?
What you got in mind?
I think we should commit to being oppo each other in the Battle Bets 10-12 league this week. You're gonna put $300 on Baylor, and I'm gonna put $300 on ASU.
All right, let me go move some money off of some other picks because I've already filled all my picks. But let me go. We're doing this on the
10-12 Battle
spread
Bets.
or the money line. No. I know.
Spread.
Doing this in the spread or the over? Spread. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably add a little more on money line, but yeah.
Okay. Let me pull. Where can I pull some money off of? Where can I?
Called a backdoor tease, folks. You write that down.
Because if you don't know what Battle Bets is, you should know what it is by now because you should be listening to the show. But if you don't, you need to download the Battle Bets app now. It is betting, spending fake money. You don't have to use your real money. You can bet, and guess what? When your wife's like, what is this? You're like, oh, don't worry, honey. It's fake money. So you don't have to worry about it. Great. Love to hear that. That's phenomenal. It is so much fun. Look, we're talking about bets right here. You can set up a league for you and friends. You can join the 1012 Battle Bets League. It is free to join. It's free to play. You get like $3,500 each week to go and bet, spread, over, under, money line, prop bets. We're handing out weekly prizes. Come and join our league. Come join it. It's a ton of fun. Link is in the show notes. It's just betting without using real money. I don't know. If that doesn't sell you, if the opportunity to just try betting out without having to spend an actual single cent of your own money doesn't excite you, then I get it. But if it does intrigue you, then come try it out. If you don't want to join our league, that's fine. You can set up your own. You can do it with some friends. Let them know that we are the reason you signed up. We'd appreciate it. And there it is. I've got Baylor minus 2.5. $300 bet to win 600. I've got it in, Chase. So go download the Battle Bets app today. You can get that link in our show notes and come play along. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's a fun time. It's a fun time had by all. Oh, let's talk about another game that I've got a lot of my Battle Bets money on. That one also at 6:30 p.m. kickoff, this time on ESPN2. BYU on the road at East Carolina. Chase, you're up first in this one, sir. At the moment, BYU is 6.5-point road favorite. Total in this one, 49.5. What you want, buddy?
Yeah, I got this in real life at 8.5. And this is me playing that. I've talked about this in previous episodes, that playing the trend of a road favorite crossing multiple time zones. So I liked it when it was north of the 7. Now that it's crossed through the key number and is down at 6.5, for the purposes of the show, I'm still going to be on East Carolina, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying it at this point for an actual bet. But I'll be on ECU plus 6.5.
That's funny. I put a bit on ECU plus 6.5, and I put a bit on ECU on the money line. Let me run through some stuff. BYU leads the country in third down defense, allowing just 3 of 26 third down attempts through 2 games at 11.5%. ECU is 14th nationally on third down on offense, converting 57% of the time. Love it when we have 2 things that are supposed to be good going up against each other. For ECU, 5 players have at least 8 catches. They have 20 red zone trips. The offense has been doing well since the second half of the North Carolina State game. Go look at it. ECU has been good. They just have. I think this is a tricky spot for BYU. This is by far the best opponent BYU has faced so far, in my opinion. I think they're better than Stanford. I think ECU would beat Stanford on a neutral field. Bear Bachmeier has had a week off to kind of figure some things out, but he didn't look great against Stanford. And if I'm ECU, I'm just going to load the box up and force Bear Bachmeier to beat me. I'm taking ECU to cover as well. In fact, I know every single number points towards BYU fairly comfortably. He's the only one. He's got BYU by half a point. Everybody else is pretty much 9.5 to like 17.22. But I think ECU is going to have themselves a game, and I think ECU might actually just pull off the upset here. So I'm also riding at ECU plus 6.5. I love you, BYU, but I don't. Pair.
We've got a consensus pick here. I'm
No!
going ECU to cover. Yeah. My model has been pretty low on BYU all year. I've got the number at 2 right now. And I don't know why, but I'll trust it. East Carolina has the best group of 5 defense in the country when you look at adjusted EPA per play, which is 9th overall. And then they also have, I think, the second best G5 defense in terms of success rate, which is 11th best overall. And then I also think that BYU's defensive numbers are pretty inflated right now. I don't think that holding Stanford to 3 points and Portland State to 0 really translates to anything here for playing East Carolina. So I've got a lot of concerns for BYU in this game. And I think a great point was the 2 time zone travel. And yeah, I just do not like this for BYU. So we've got a consensus pick.
Perry, you mentioned that East Carolina's defense is number 2 among all G5 teams in terms of defensive success rate. Did I have that stat right?
Yeah.
Who's number 1 off the top? that your head?
Oh.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
I don't know. I can look if you give me a couple minutes.
Why don't you check for that, and we'll start prepping for the next one. And by the way, I would have leaned the under in BYU ECU as well. This one doesn't feel like it's going to be very pointsy. Our last Big 12 games of the weekend is a 9:15 p.m. God's time kickoff on ESPN. It's Colorado versus Wyoming. Colorado going back to Caden Salter after the Ryan Staub experience. Apparently didn't work out against Houston. Not sure that's the reason that they lost to Houston, but sure, if that's what they want to roll with. At the moment, Colorado 13 to 13.5 point favorite. A total in this one is 44.5. There's some 44s. I think I'm up first, but if you've got that stat pair, lay it on us.
Yep. James Madison.
How about that?
Did you know, Chase?
That's shocking. I had no idea. I truly had no idea. Yeah. Who could have guessed?
I don't know. When you asked that question, it made me wonder. And then the answer was, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna just do this one real quick. That's a really low total at 44.5. And I'm still taking the under in this game. And that's all I have to say about it. Pair?
Yep. I'm taking the under too. I mean, Wyoming's offense has been anemic. It's been really bad. You got the revolving door at quarterback for Colorado. Colorado is just in havoc rate allowed. They're 1/10. They're behind off schedule often. I just don't see how this is not a rock fight of a game that ends up being like 17-6.
Chase?
So I thought about the under too. This is very much in my under wheelhouse of like an ugly low total game where people are afraid to take the under because the number's already so low, but then you take it because it's low for a reason. So that's absolutely in my wheelhouse. I don't know if I psyched myself out here or what. I'm actually going to lay it with Colorado. I think there's a good argument that you're getting value here. The stupidest word in sports betting, value. But I think there's a good case. It's a nice buy point for Colorado because, like you guys have said, it's a Wyoming team whose offense is really rough. I like the quarterback change that Colorado's made. I think against other teams that are not Houston in Houston, I think it's going to generate decent offense here. And so I think you're going to see a nice bump in production playing Wyoming at home versus Houston at Houston in your conference opener. I think that was an official conference game, right? That wasn't just like a weird holdover from a previous year, I think. So I think minus 13 is it jumps out as weird and feeling too big. But when you look at the early look ahead, this was like Colorado 16. So you're actually getting a nice buy point here. It's under the key number of 14. I will lay the 13.
It's all yours. All right. We wrap this show up the same way every week by picking a non-Big 12 game of our choosing. Pair, it's your turn, so you get to go first. The board is yours.
Right. I love Oklahoma here. I think everyone in the world is also loving Oklahoma, and I'm going to join them. I mean, Auburn has no explosivity. That's what you need to beat a Brent Venables defense. He's going to take away everything that's short from Jackson Arnold. This is by far the best defense Auburn's going to see. I mean, OU's number one in so many stats in the SEC. They're number one in the country for adjusted EPA per play. And then you've got John Mateer on the other side, who has been absolutely electric. Has already been tested against a decent defense in Michigan. They're at home. You've got the Arnold returning factor. I love Oklahoma in this spot.
Not a great way to endear yourself to Big 12 fans by picking Oklahoma in a game, but we'll allow it, Pair. We'll allow it. Listen, everyone, first time, we're all allowed to make mistakes. That's okay. But you get OU minus 6.5 as your pick. Chase, what you got?
Jackson Arnold revenge game. I don't know. I might be on the Auburn side of that one. Look, I love a lot of trash this week. There are some terrible games out there that have great numbers. Delaware plus 6.5. Yeah, give me that. There's a bunch out there. The one I would like to officially submit for our picks here, and then I'll take your questions, Phillip. I am gonna lay 44.5 points with Florida State. There is a juiced 44.5 right now, I think, at ESPN Bet. At minus 120. So I would love to be on the right side of 45. So I love that they're hanging that 44.5. We already talked about Kid State a couple weeks ago when they played, I think it was Texas Tech. And I said I would lay 48. And I think the reaction was like, are you serious? You're going to lay 48? Yeah, this Kid State team sucks. Florida State's off a bye. They just played an FCS team, East Texas A&M, a couple weeks ago. They scored 70-some points against them. Kent State, I had the stat, like in the last 7 games against power conference teams, Kent State's lost like 5 of them by 50 plus. So I'm just not afraid of this number. It sounds crazy to say. I'm laying 44.5 and it feels too low. It feels like this number should be 49. So I'm just not afraid of it. I don't care.
The good thing is you won't have to worry about a push like you got with Texas Tech at minus 48.
Yeah.
So,
bummer.
You'll either win or it won't. So you're good there. All right. I got a few on my card to consider. One of them, and you mentioned some sicko games. How do you feel? This is not my pick, but it was on my card. How do you feel about Western Michigan plus 14.5 at home versus Toledo?
Saw it, thought about it. Western Michigan is the side I would be on, and I was looking at it at 14, so 14.5 is even better.
Yep.
Betting the MAC in football, single A MAC, is a lot like betting the double A MAC in college basketball. There's just outright upsets all over the place. Teams are supposed to romp, and they lose outright. Teams lose outright as double-digit favorites all the time. Toledo, I swear, has been favored to win this conference every year for the past 6 years and has never won it. Jason Candle is on every coaching shortlist, and he never gets hired. So it just, I don't know. I said that, and then so like somebody hired him a year and a half ago.
No, he's still there. He's still
dad brain. But yeah, it's Western Michigan is 0-3, and they're pretty ugly right now if you're thinking about betting them against a good team. But losses are, when you lose in betting, the losses all count the same. You don't feel any stupider when you like bet a terrible team and they get blown out and they miss the cover by 1 million. That's just the sort of thing you're going to do sometimes when you're a good bettor. So at the risk that Toledo drops 55 and this is a dead ticket by the middle of the second quarter, yeah, I like Western Michigan plus the 14.5. I think that's a good bet.
All right. That's not my actual bet. I very seriously considered taking Memphis, who is welcoming Arkansas to Memphis. Not a true rivalry game, but one of those like proximity games where they've played each other quite a few times. And
basketball.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by Memphis plus 7.5, but that's not where I'm going to go. That's not where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with a team that I've been very high on all off season. Chase, you have too. Now they're a road dog, but I'm happy to take them as a road dog, especially with a 3.5. Give me Southern Miss plus 3.5 at Louisiana Tech.
Yep.
Look, a lot of the numbers kind of side with Louisiana Tech. Parker's don't. Parker has Southern Miss by 10. I don't know. No, give me Southern Miss. Like this team's going to get it rolling and get it clicking. They played a better than we thought they would be Mississippi State team. And I still thought they fought pretty valiantly in that game at home. I am all over Southern Miss in this one. Southern Miss plus 3.5 over Louisiana Tech. And I think that we're going to win this game.
Correct. It's in the account. It's already there. I've got the plus 3.5. I've got the plus 130 money line. I've got some alts where they're laying points. So I have it all. I have it from all the angles. And you said it exactly right, Phillip. It kind of messed with my handicap when they came out and they ended up losing. I mean, it was a competitive game, but they lost that week 1 game against Mississippi State. And I was pretty confident that they were going to be in that one right to the end and possibly win it. So when Mississippi State won and really stretched it outside of the cover zone there in the second half, I kind of went back to the drawing board and was like, I wonder if I messed something up on this Southern Miss handicap from the offseason. And no, it just turns out Mississippi State is kind of respectable this year. And then they get the head-to-head win against Arizona State. And then you go back and sort of regrade that Southern Miss game. And okay. Well, that's what I didn't foresee is Mississippi State's good. Like, I think we're still several weeks away from the larger market figuring that out once they have a couple of SEC wins under their belt. So that's another one I actually like this week is Mississippi State laying 21 in the hook, playing Northern Illinois. I feel like this number should be 28.5. So you're getting a lot of value there because the market hasn't caught up to Mississippi State. And then I think the opposite is true of Southern Miss the same thing is true of Southern Miss where they could have been this big, darling Sunbelt team that could start getting playoff love and all this stuff if they had played a tight one, score-wise, played a tight game to the end against Mississippi State in week 1. Instead, everybody gets off the smell because the score looks pretty bad. And then you have Southern Miss here just sort of lying in wait to handle App State last week. I think they're going to win on the road against Eastern Michigan. I'm sorry, not Eastern Michigan, against, help me out here. Too many names in my head. Louisiana Tech, thank you. That's a different game, Eastern Michigan. That's Louisiana playing at Eastern Michigan. Different Sun Belt team. Yes, yeah. Love the USM pick.
I still have my Southern Miss to win the Sun Belt. Real money.
As you should.
That's my. I got that ticket.
Crazy number. It's still a crazy number.
Is it really? I'm gonna go look.
Yeah, I mean it's not like 40-1 like it was, but it's still a crazy number.
Saracen app, and not a sponsor. And take a look at that. All right, it's been fun. Chase, as always, it's a pleasure. We'll have your updated picks article in the show notes. Man, appreciate you hopping on. Thrilled to have you. Excited to continue to follow your work over there on Twitter. Do us a favor. Plug it all, the website, the social accounts. Where can everybody check out your model and keep track of what you're putting out there?
Yeah, appreciate it. Twitter at PEARatings 1R. My website is in the bio there. It's PEARatings.streamlit. That's 2 places you can find me, track where I'm going. Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. We will we'll have you back on again in the future. Everybody, you know what? Just enjoy the games this weekend. I know I will. I think you all will as well. We'll talk to you all again on Monday.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.